Hi, welcome back to the Cardsmiths. Max here.
And I'm Hal, and today we're going to be looking at some more cards from the Tears of Amaterasu pack, and we're going to be looking at the Crane cards. This pack comes with 1 Dynasty card and 2 Conflict cards.
Yeah, and just to clarify what Hal said, that is 3 copies of each of those 3 cards. So it is actually 9 Crane cards, but just 3 different cards here.
Alright, first card is the Dynasty card, and that's the Doji Representative. It's a 3-cost character, and Crane has pretty strong 3-cost characters out of the core, so it is competing for that deck space. And it's a 1 military, 3 political, it's courtier traded, and it has 2 glory.
Yeah, so far I would say a little underwhelming. Most 3-cost characters will be at least maybe around a 3-3 or a 3-2, so it's a little under that. 2 glory is what you want out of a Crane card.
And the courtier trait. I think for this card to make it, it's going to have a pretty good ability.
Yeah, especially like we said, if you did catch some of our earlier videos of the core set cards, we were quite big fans of the 3-cost Crane cards there, like Hal said. So we'll see what this action does. It's going to have to be quite strong, and it is action during a conflict. Move this character home.
So a little bit of, I want to say it's a little bit of kind of unicorn flavor going on.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking.
It's a little bit of favorable ground, but the thing is, I think it's less good than both of those, because this is during a conflict, move this character home. It doesn't give you the reverse ability to move it in, which some of those other cards have. The benefit is the abilities printed on a character, which is more reminiscent of some of the unicorn cards than the favorable ground.
Yeah, because like the holding, it is taking up a spot. You have less options of characters to play that turn while the holding is there. You're also sacrificing the holding to do it. This is something that if you have a fade on it, you could potentially get this 2 turns in a row, get some utility out of its action. Also, yeah, in terms of the unicorn, it's their stronghold is doing that, but their stronghold, it being the weakest stronghold, as soon as they have another stronghold option, unless a lot of cards come out to buff that moving into conflict ability, I think we're going to see unicorn players veer towards an alternative stronghold.
There's another unicorn card out of the core set that has the movement ability, though.
Yeah, it's the Shinjo Outrider. So that is a bit of a... Oh, that costs 2, this costs 3. The Outrider can't move home from the conflict, though, so it is still doing only one of those things.
Okay. I don't know.
I think it's pretty good. It's like you can attack with this, and either it's a 3, and they have to respect that you can probably add 1 more to it. So you can attack with this, and they have to respect that you're probably going to break the province if they don't defend. And then if they defend, you can just simply pull this out. They'll win the ring. They're not going to get to trigger it because they've won as a defender. Now you... Well, I guess the argument is that... No, yeah, I realize that doesn't make sense.
I don't agree, because then you're wasting your political challenge, which is what you want to be strong at as Crane. And if you can do that, sending this
okay,
on a
you do it with
military
military
challenge,
then.
But
yeah.
They don't care. It's a 1-strength military card. Even if you pop a fine katana on it, it's not breaking most provinces. Now maybe you send it in with other Crane units, but a lot of the other Crane units, the cheaper ones, need to be attacking alone to trigger, like the is it the Brash Samurai, the Honorable Samurai?
It's the Brash Samurai. That's the only one, though, that has to be... Oh, no, actually the Scout has to be on its own, too.
The Scout is the same. And those are 2 of the cheaper military options you might be wanting to send it with, but both of them want to be going alone, so it still doesn't really synergize with what's coming from the core set to use its ability. I like the theme of the card. Like, he's a diplomat, and he, goes home if he wants to, but...
I think it's good, because then you just... Like, Crane already, you might just not be in a situation where you don't really have... Like, as Crane, obviously, you're doing a strong political challenge. You might not even be declaring a military challenge that turn, and now you can declare this. if they don't block it, you simply win the ring and they lose an honor for an unopposed challenge. And then if they do block it, you can pull this out, and then they've basically exhausted one of their defenders. They win the ring, and that'll hurt a bit for an Imperial favor. But then you're gonna, if you do your political conflict second, you could also pull it out, and it has 2 glory, and that's gonna give you more of a benefit on winning Imperial favor because they're gonna get 1 towards that from winning the ring. You pull this out, it'll still be standing, and you're actually adding 2, so it can be a good way to win Imperial favor towards the end of the turn.
I don't disagree it's a useful card, I just don't think it's as good as any of the 3-cost Crane cards from the core. And how many 3-cost cards can you take?
Some of those cards are unique characters, though, and this does have the, well,
but there's a
I wouldn't say benefit,
yeah. There's a built-in incentive to take unique characters because you can get free fate out of that card draw.
But then there's an argument that like maybe a different character to play is actually more valuable in instances than being like, oh no, I have a lot of fate, I want to get a bunch of characters out, but now I've drawn 2 unique versions of characters I already have in play.
Still have two Dynasty cards left.
No, but I'm still saying, like, there are games where you can be sitting at 11, 12 fate and you need to have a big turn.
Yeah, I'm slightly underwhelmed. If you can honor it, yeah, you're right. It's a bit better. But if you're not honoring it, like, what is the likelihood that their only character with a military is like a high impact unit? I guess.
I think it could happen. You can get in a matchup against like Scorpion or even Dragon. They might just not have like very many characters out on the table, and you can just sort of essentially kind of neutralize one almost.
It's better against Dragon, but by that logic, like, you could send in your 2-cost Brash Samurai, and he's doing the exact same thing, really.
No, because he's not gonna like help you in Imperial favor or give you 3 towards your political later on the turn, or.
But he costs less fate, and he's honored himself, so he's automatically giving you more honor than this one.
If this one's honored, it's a 3/5, which is pretty good. Yeah, that has the caveat that it has to be honored, but if it's honored, like, then now you are at the point where you're threatening just breaking the province militarily, and then if you pull it out, you're adding 5 to your next political challenge. Yeah. I like the card personally. I don't know if it's as good as the other ones. That remains to be seen, and it's a card I definitely want to see in play, because any kind of like movement effect is good, and I might have a bit more of an appreciation for it after seeing it in action. But even my initial impression is that this is good.
My initial impression is that it's fine.
That's fair. On to the next one.
We've got a conflict card now. It's a 0-cost attachment. It's a +0 military, +1 political. Seal of the Crane. Item traded, seal traded. Attached character gains the Crane clan symbol and the duelist trait.
Yeah, and you're getting your +1 political too. It is 0, which 0-cost conflict cards. We've talked about that. It's important to have them. It's good to have options. We talked about how, like, 2-cost card, it might have a really strong effect, but if you don't have the fate, it's essentially a blank card, and that's been discussed.
But what are you wanting to do with this card? Because you're wanting. I don't see you playing this on like a Sapoon Guardsman or like one of the neutral Dynasty cards. So presumably it's going on a conflict card that you've spent influence on to put in your conflict deck, and it's an out of clan card. But the +1 political makes me think that then it's an out of clan political card that you want to be using this on. And what are you pulling from? Right? Scorpion? But those cards to me don't necessarily synergize with the Crane ones.
I can't remember what the unassuming Yojimbo does. I think it might just have covert. I'd have to look at the card
which
again.
Which would be good.
I like Dragon too. You have like the girl that
The
you
one
can
that-
put on as an attachment
to
if
give
you want,
covert.
or which
But
you
can't-
wouldn't be adding
you
this.
can't do that.
No, I'm just saying like she is a character that can be played. She's still a 3/3. Like you wouldn't add this to an attachment, but just to like describe that character. You get the duelist trait as well, which right now isn't relevant, but like that signals to me that this is a card to keep an eye on. With every card that comes out that has an effect pertaining to cards with the duelist trait. And then getting the Crane Clan symbol, that's going to let you trigger some effects. There are some cards that has to be like on a Crane Clan card, so you're allowing yourself to trigger those effects on an out of action card, so there could be some synergies there.
I don't hate the card. I think it'll become better. I just don't think it's very good with the card pool being just the core in this pack.
Yeah. I mean, it's instantly a card that then I want to go look at all the characters from every clan, all the conflict deck characters from every clan, and I think you'd have to really analyze each of them and to really assess the strength of this card, and then like we said, I think it will get better over time.
The other problem is you're spending a conflict card, which are a valuable resource, to give yourself +1 political, which really are you going to need in most matchups as the Crane player, and then Crane Clan trait.
Oh, I think you're gonna need it.
Duelist trait.
I think you're gonna need it. You're still taking your ornate fans. Like you still need to like.
No, what I'm
have
saying
good
is this swing of 1 gonna change a battle?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, ultimately, this game comes down to those like tight conflicts usually.
But then I'm getting more utility out of an attachment that gives me a bigger modifier.
Yeah, but the only one that does that is the ornate fan. So this is
the height of fashion.
No, but I'm saying the only one that does that at 0. Like the height of fashion, we've already talked about. Like let go is a problem. Even the Mia Mystic is a problem. If they use their let go or a Mia Mystic on your 0 cost card, you're fine with that.
Yeah, I just like your conflict deck space is tighter. You putting a +1 modifier in? Like I don't like giving yourself the Crane Clan symbol with the current card pool. How useful is that? Giving yourself the duelist trait with the current card pool. How useful is that?
I think we'd really have to have a look again at like how many effects there are that trigger off of having a Crane Clan card.
Well, Way of the Crane you can only trigger on a Crane.
I think there is definitely something else. Like I think there's more than that.
But is adding the Crane Clan symbol to one out of faction character going to change your ability to use those cards in an impactful way?
Yeah, but then again, yeah, I think this is gonna become much better as time goes on.
Oh, I agree with that.
Okay.
I'm just not a fan of this being in the first pack.
These games tend to do that though, where they'll kind of
force you to buy more packs to fully maximize the utility of the cards you've bought. Yeah.
Yeah, like we've seen that with, well, we definitely saw it with the Star Wars LCG, and there's been other ones where like there'll be a theme that'll be started, like Game of Thrones, the Builder theme that started, and then like it'll be some time before it really sort of evolves into something really powerful. Yeah. Which I don't know if this ever will. Well, okay, having this card in the card pool like means that every future card that has an effect printed on it that says do this to a Crane character
becomes more
they're
versatile.
Gonna have to like, and even from a design standpoint, I think they're gonna have to be careful with what they do, because then you can't have some really overpowered reaction off of like a Scorpion card working with this. So
that requires you to have both cards in hand at the same time, because a Scorpion card is going to be a conflict deck card, and so is this.
No, yeah, I just mean like they'll have to be a bit more careful now, I think, with this card being out.
Yeah, I don't think this is adding a ton immediately, but it could become a good card later.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that we're gonna be seeing every clan get one of these, at least from what I've seen. So.
All right, we've got another conflict card. It's a 1-cost event. It's a disdainful remark. Keeper role only, which is interesting because out of the core set at least, I think most of the clans were stronger playing seeker role, just to allow you to take better provinces.
So then I like that they're getting this card, because I like that they're pushing a bit more of an incentive to... Well, if this card is good, we'll see if this is good. If it's good, then they're pushing a bit more of an incentive to play a different role, and that opens up some more deck building.
Yeah, what you've got to immediately evaluate if your card pool, though, is just the core set in this pack, is whether putting this card in your deck is more valuable than putting 2 void provinces or 2 air provinces or what have you.
Or the Seeker Initiate, maybe. The Seeker Initiate is better than the Keeper Initiate, so yeah.
Okay, so the action of this event is during a conflict, if you control a participating courtier character, until the end of the conflict, the attacked province gets +X strength. X is equal to the number of cards in your opponent's hand.
Oh.
They can play around it, is the thing. I mean,
well,
you have less, like, in the Star Wars LCG, for instance, you can just dump your whole hand into the edge panel. You have less ability to do that in this game because you have to have, like, the ability to trigger the events, you have to have the fate available to pay for things, but they're going to be able to dump 1 or 2 cards, probably.
But it's also, like, there's going to be cards that only pertain to military conflict, that only pertain to political conflict, and, okay, even in... Say you're playing Lion right now, they might have a lot of military cards. If you use this in their...
The problem with that is you have to have a participating courtier.
Yeah.
Which does make the Doji representative a little better, because it's a courtier with military.
Yeah. Actually, another interesting thing that I just thought of, just going back to the Doji representative, is that, like, you could also defend with this and then force them, like, you know in L5R where you get in those situations where, like, then they have to commit more cards, they have to put their fans on, they have to do all this just to break the province or just to even try to win, and then it's like they've done that, you don't want to commit more to it, it's like, okay, at this point I'm just going to pull this out of the conflict, and now I'm going to use it on the attack.
The downside of that is that, like, they're probably playing those attachments onto a character with fate on it, so it's not as if they've, like, wasted the card, and they are probably then going to still break your province, but yeah, I mean, it's giving you flexibility.
Yeah, I think it's something we didn't touch on, that actually this does have some good utility as a defender, which then you can force them to commit into that conflict and use as an attack.
It depends. It's better if you're the first player. No, actually.
No, because if you're the second...
It depends if you want to use it to fake attack or to fake defend.
But you can do either. I think this... I like it a bit more. I wasn't thinking about its use as a defender. Because, yeah, like, they declare they're political, you block with this, now suddenly either you might just win with this and not use its action, or they might really have to commit now to beat you, even maybe you've defended with something else, and it's like, okay, they've committed a lot, there's not much more I can do here, let's pull it out, and this is going to be coming right back at you.
Yeah, I stand by my belief that the other 3-cost characters were stronger.
Yeah. I'm curious to try that one. I think it's pretty good. But yeah, sorry, back to the disdainful remark. I think this is quite good. It fits with the Keeper theme, where you want to be, like, kind of a little better defensively. It's increasing your province strength, so it's going to be harder for them to break your province.
But is that consistent with the most effective way that a Crane deck is going to win?
Well, you still have to be able to defend.
Yeah.
And this can be used in a military conflict, which is good. They're not always
at
defending them.
You have to jump through a hoop to use it in a military conflict.
Yeah.
There's a limited number of courtiers who are military conflict eligible, and some of them are like a 0 strength military, and do you really want to push that into the military conflict just to trigger the event?
I think that this card actually is quite good with the Doji representative.
Yeah.
Which
that I agree with.
I think the cards work really well together.
Yes.
It's just going to be a question as whether that's a quote-unquote better strategy than just playing without either of them, but I like that it's adding something to consider, and it's adding a new sort of deck to try. And I don't...
It's a better card earlier in the game as well, because your opponent can like really start to run out of cards after a couple turns.
Yeah, and early, like they don't want to just dump all their conflict cards into
But late in the game, they've got 2 conflict cards in their hand or something.
Which, like, +2, well, then they're probably going to play them. Yeah.
Well,
But, even, like... But, yeah, like, early in the game, this is easily going to be, like, a +3 or 4.
Does cost a fate.
Probably more than that. By the time they've played their cards, it's still probably going to be, like, a +3, maybe 4 still. Because early on, you're starting with 4. Say you dial 3 on the first turn and you're at 7. Like, it might be like a +3 by the time they've played their cards.
I don't think it's usually going to be a +4. I think if you're getting a +3, you've done pretty good.
If you're getting a +3, they're probably not breaking your province.
It depends on the province, which is a little bit luck. If they're just attacking face down provinces. But I then mean, Shameful Display is now a 6 or something. That's
with its ability, there's almost no way they're breaking that, at least early in the game. If it's a 6 and you've triggered the Shameful Display ability. Which actually, again, then this... I mean, I keep going back to the Doji representative, but another good Shameful Display target, which then you can pull out of the Shameful Display, which you've defended with this, and now you have it on the attack for 5.
No, the Shameful Display you want to defend if you can.
No, but I'm saying by the time that you've honored this, and you've also dishonored their thing, they might not be breaking the Shameful Display, and then you could potentially pull this out. Maybe you've defended with something else as well.
I don't think that's a likely situation. What I was going to say, though, is that this is good on the Art of Peace. If they attack the Art of Peace and you only have, like, 1 unit around to defend it, and they're just attacking with a big unit or something, that's not the optimal time to have that province broken.
A big character, yeah.
So, well, you want it to be a big battle when that gets broken.
Yeah. Yeah, you hope to at least dishonor like maybe 2 of theirs, honor 1 of yours. I think that's reasonable to expect.
So if some I mean, really, it's true for any province. If you have a province you don't want broken yet, this could help you.
Which, I mean, naturally you don't want your provinces broken. I think it's a good card.
I don't know if it's worth taking Keeper role with just the core set in this pack. But it's giving you an incentive, which is nice.
Yeah, I like that they're like, at the very least out of this pack, it's like, you know what, this is a deck I'm interested in trying already, and I think it's another option as a way to play.
Yeah,
and it's giving you some incentive to try out new things, which ultimately is what you want out of a pack. You want new deck options.
Yeah. Overall, I don't think any of these were like extremely strong cards, but I think at least 2 of them were interesting and probably viable to put in a deck with just the core in this pack.
Yeah, I agree. I think the seal, as of now, I think you're right that the seal of the crane is the weaker of the 3. I think it's gonna... I don't think that's gonna be as useful at this state of the game, but...
I think that is also the card that maybe has the strongest potential to grow in ability as the card pool expands.
I think that this Keeper role one also, I think, like, eventually, I think the Keeper deck could... I mean, there's ultimately gonna be more cards, I assume, that come out that are Keeper role only for Crane, and it might reach a point where it's like, you know what, this is a really viable deck. Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think the Seal of the Crane can become really good over time, and maybe if you already have a big L5R collection and you're just watching this video now, like, maybe it's if you haven't already, it's a card to look at your collection and consider and find some interesting nuanced interactions with it.
yeah, well, there you have it. There's the Crane cards from this pack. As always, if you have a different opinion about a card, don't hesitate to share it in that comment section.
Yeah, give us a shout about what you think. If you think you're off on one of the cards, or if you agree with what we're saying, we'd love to hear from you.
And until the next video, have a good day.
Until then.